Okay guys, CC cycle 3, week 4 abstract. So since this cycle is all about the modern era, kind of, including American history, I thought a really cool abstract project would be to be inspired by textile art, specifically the crazy quilt craze of the Victorian era. So in 1876, the United States was turning 100 years old, and for its 100th birthday, they had a centennial exhibition in Philadelphia where artisans and designers from all over the world came and displayed their artwork. And so the crazy quilt came from the kind of Japanese artists where they would use asymmetrical various scraps from different materials and sources and put them together in a very abstract quilting pattern. And crazy quilts weren't just beautiful, they could also tell a story. Sometimes quilters would use scraps from special dresses or ribbons or neckties that were meaningful to them. And they would use thread and embroidery thread to embroider flowers, animals, initials, dates, symbols onto the quilts. And so in that way, they kind of made like a scrapbook out of fabric, preserving little pieces of a family's memory. So I thought it was cool, since we're celebrating the 250th birthday of America, to kind of do an homage to the centennial exhibition in Philadelphia. I found this piece of crazy quilt square on Etsy, and I'll tag the shop on this video as well. But with that, we can kind of look at the project. So these are the 2 quilt squares that Jack and I did. This was mine, this is Jack, he's 8. And I think it's a really good use of oils. So very quickly, I'm just going to demonstrate the materials and how this project will be for all ages. So essentially the tools are Sharpie, pencil, and a watercolor paint palette. I do want the emphasis to be on the use of oils. If they don't have time to paint their quilt square, that's okay. They can do that, on their own time at the end of the year. This will just go in their folder and will be given to them. But I really do want them to focus on building out their oils and using their oils to create like an abstract design. So for the sake of this video and for time, I'm not going to use a pencil. I would recommend that students use a pencil and go back over and trace. If they're a confident artist, they can just straight away use the Sharpie. So I'm just going to go in and start using some straight lines. This can look however you want. And I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to use all of my oils on this design. So I'm going to create, let's say, just a polka dot design using circles. And then maybe I'll use my curved lines to create a little pattern here. And then maybe here is where I use some more curved lines to do a heart patch. And then maybe I use some angled lines here. And I was reading a quote, there was a Instagram kind of artist that said, "You don't have to be good at art to enjoy art." And I think something I see as a struggle for our students and our parents is that this need to be a good artist kind of prohibits the confidence and the creativity process. And so this series of drawing, I really want the students to not be super guided, but to really engage in that inner creativity and not have to do things super step by step, but just see what they're able to create with the tools like oils given to them. Yeah, so I think for tutors, as much as we can give them a reference and have them go with it and just see what they do, I think that would be ideal, especially with the larger class sizes. I think it's going to be hard to take them step by step on things like this. So just giving them a task and having them go for it with parent, you know, a parent at each table kind of guiding the process. Another thing I could do is use math symbols, plus, minus, divide, approximately, equal to, greater than. And I could use, let's see, some cursive. So I could say Kara. And then, so we've got curved lines, dots, circles, angled lines. Yeah, I'll just do whatever I want here. So I'll just make kind of a crosshatch pattern, and then they can go in. They'll have just one paintbrush and one paper towel, but you know, if they wanted to add some color to this, they could quickly go through and just put some color in each square. The painting, again, is not the point, it's the drawing portion, so I don't want them to rush the drawing portion in an effort to get here, but I do think that them doing a little bit of painting is not terrible in the drawing series, especially as we only have a couple weeks left of the series, and then they'll pick up in the painting series. But I think the cool thing is that at the end, the whole class will have made a crazy quilt with their individual abstract pieces. So that is the project for all classes.